He's the
I think there's a bit of work to do on that, to be fair,
Okay.
Daniel.
Go on.
Certainly there are discussions between the clubs, and I think the player is very open to it. But I still think there's a bit of work to do before that deal can be completed. Just negotiation stuff between Rangers and Spurs. But I think, in principle, everybody's up for it, including Spurs. Thomas Frank, the manager, sees the sense in it. The player seems to be quite excited at the prospect of it. And I think Rangers will be really excited by it because they're calling this kid potentially a generational talent down there, aren't they? I think
Very
for me,
highly rated.
he's 17, right? So a lot of learning to do. You would imagine he'll be a bit wet behind the ears, but Ange Postecoglou was willing to play him on more than a few occasions last season.
He made 20 appearances
Yeah,
last season.
exactly.
I mean, 20. I mean, that's a lot for a big club like Tottenham.
And especially for a kid as young as that.
Aye.
And he's clearly a boy that really excites Spurs. And again, how the Rangers fans, you let us know, Rangers fan, how do you feel about it? Because I think the prospect of seeing a kid of this level of ability in a Rangers shirt, even if it's just for a season, I think they should be fairly excited about that. They obviously, I made the comparison to Czerny earlier. I'm sure they enjoyed watching Czerny last season. I'm sure there'll be many of them who, wished that deal had been made more permanent and that Czerny was still part of the ranks just now, because that was a possibility when the loan deal was originally struck. There's no possibility of Mikey Moore becoming a Rangers player on a more permanent basis.
Yeah.
So how do the fans feel? I don't know. For me, just the idea of looking, getting to see a kid that's clearly, in terms of what the expectations are at Spurs, they believe he's destined for huge things in the game. So I think that should be quite exciting, the idea of it. And I think it's part of the wider recruitment plan that Russell Martin is trying to activate this summer, and that, it's not a case of just, sign two wingers, because we all know, this is Scottish football, injuries happen. And sometimes, particularly, wide players are targeted. So I think that, the Rangers right now, what are we thinking? That they're in discussions about 3 potential deals for wingers: Mikey Moore, Raksaki at Crystal Palace, and Oliver Antman at Go Ahead Eagles. And there's probably more that Rangers are looking at. I think if they could get with Gassama in the door already, that's one. I think Russell Martin's probably looking to get at least 3, perhaps 4.
But then
to give them those options in the wider areas.
Sorry to jump in, Keith, but then you think Gassama, right? And technically, I know it wasn't Russell Martin, but they've paid, £3 million for Cortez this summer. So you get Gassama, Cortez, Mikey Moore, Antman. Who was the other one?
Mikey Moore, Oliver Antman, Raksaki at Palace.
Raksaki. I mean, that feels like a lot to me. Surely they won't. You wouldn't have thought they would get all 3 of Moore, Raksaki, and Antman.
No, you wouldn't. But I would think that he probably wants another 2 at least.
Aye, that makes sense.
And I don't think that Cortez is. I just don't see any signs that he's going to grow into that shirt and give a proper contribution. Yeah, I just don't see. I might be wrong. Maybe Russell Martin will have seen something in him that nobody else has up until this point. But no, that just looks like another major misadventure in the transfer market from a recruitment department, which was, I don't know how you would say it, performing quite horribly over the period of time. And look, there you go. The evidence in front of your eyes. Robin Propper's away back after a year. The deal for Cortez never seemed to make any sense at all. And there's a list as long as your arm of signings that Rangers probably regret that they ever made in the first place. That's why another reason from a Rangers supporters perspective, I'm sure there's a little bit more excitement about what's going on in this window, because it seems as if there's a plan underpinning everything that they're doing. It's not the scattergun approach, and it's not the summer of Sam Lammers or anything close to it.
Bluebell says Keith's way off. The deal is all but done, and it will be announced soon. That's for Mikey Moore, I think he's meaning. And he also points out as well, McCausland is off to Limassol. Ross McCausland is off to join
well, that one's been talked about for a while.
And Leon Balogun. So I mean, I've been saying this to you for weeks now, but I just want the season to start.